The sky above Iluro has forgotten how to blink. It hangs there in its endless blue hush, the color of an ancient scar, refusing the kingdom even a single shred of cloud. By the 10th year of drought, people have stopped looking upward altogether. Hope is a fragile thing, and too much staring can bruise it. Queen Aramis stands at the highest balcony of the moon spire, watching her kingdom fade into shades of thirst. From here, she can see everything. The riverbeds carved like abandoned calligraphy, rooftops powdered with sawdust, and the long lines of villagers crossing the palace courtyard to collect their daily ration of well water. Their jars clink like muted bells, an accidental prayer. Inside the throne room, the high seers wait for her. Arame feels their presence before she enters. They always smell faintly of old parchment and the resin burned during prophecy rites. As she steps through the carved obsidian doors, their heads bow in eerie unison. Chief Seer Omekun, whose eyes gleam like polished seeds, rises. "My queen," he says, "the covenant has awakened." That word is a blade thrown lightly. Arame keeps her face steady, though her palms grow warm. "Are you certain?" "We have read the sky tablets again," Omekun replies. "They speak the same truth carved there 1,000 seasons ago. Rain will not fall until the royal line is renewed." Arame's breath trembles. "You mean until I bear a child?" The answer is too heavy for them to speak, so the silence does it for them. The covenant is one of Iluro's oldest bindings, predating the palace walls and the moon spire itself. It was sworn in the era when kings conversed with storms and queens wove peace treaties with the wind. But the last monarch who could summon rain died generations ago, and since then, the covenant has slept quietly in the deep vault of prophecy. Until now. Arame turns from the seers, letting her gaze wander across the cracked mosaics beneath her slippers. The kingdom needs water, not legends. Legends become law when the land obeys them, Omekun mamas, and the land has stopped listening to us. Arame leaves before he can say more. Her footsteps echo down the corridor, long and hollow, as if the palace itself is exhaling. Servants bow as she passes, though their eyes carry the same question the seers asked: when will the queen give Iluro an heir? Inside her private chambers, Arame pulls off her crown with the tiredness of someone removing armor. She sets it on the table, where the morning light glints off its crescent edges. A crown looks strange without a kingdom thriving beneath it. It feels almost ashamed. A soft knock breaks her thoughts. Princess Abeni, Arame's younger sister, slips in with the quiet confidence of someone used to bending rules. Her braids swing like ink strokes behind her. "Word has already spread," Abeni says, settling beside her. "People say the sky has made you a bargain." "A bargain implies I have a choice." Abeni studies her. "Do you want a child?" Arame doesn't answer immediately. Her heart is a locked courtyard, its gates rusted by years of duty. Once, she imagined herself with children laughing along palace corridors. But drought changes dreams. It shrinks everything. "I want rain," Arame finally says. "I want our people to stop burying their seeds like prayers they know won't be answered." Abeni lays a gentle hand on her sister's shoulder. "Then maybe the sky is giving you a key, not a demand," Arame says. Arame almost smiles at that. Almost. Outside, the wind stirs dust into a tired spiral. The air tastes warm and metallic, like a memory of storms. Far beyond the palace walls, a faint rumble rolls across the horizon. Not thunder, not yet, but something older waking in its sleep. the covenant is no longer a myth, and the queen can feel the weight of destiny tightening around her like the first hint of a storm that refuses to break.
On the night the horizon trembles, Iluro doesn't notice at first. People are too busy coaxing reluctant whales and sweeping dust from doorways that never stay clean. But deep in the northern dunes, something tears a path through the heavens. It drops with a streak of molten silver, humming with a voice that doesn't belong to the sky. Queen Arami wakes before dawn, startled by a pulse she feels more than hears. The palace stones seem to thrum beneath her feet as she rises from bed, as if some giant heart has been buried under the moon spire and has only now remembered how to beat. By the time she enters the council chamber, the royal guards are already on alert. Their captain, Kundo, stands rigid as a spear. A star has fallen beyond the dunes, he reports. Witnesses say it came down blazing with green fire. Green fire. That color alone would tug at Arami's attention. It is the hue once favored by Iluro's storm colors. But she says nothing yet. Chief Seer Omekun arrives, moments later, breathless and unsteady. Majesty, he says, the sky tablets have shifted. One rune cracked and another glowed, bright as sunrise. Arame raises an eyebrow. Runes do not glow. They do when ancient vows stir, Omekun murmurs. I believe the thunderstone has returned. Abeni appears behind him, rubbing sleep from her eyes. Thunderstone? She asks, leaning in. Sounds like something that wants to be touched, even though everyone says not to. Omekun gives her a look that could dry oceans. It is an artifact older than Iluro's first crown. It carries celestial memory, and it seeks only one thing, the next bearer of the rain line. Abeni grins slyly. And who might that be? Omekun turns to Arami. Its presence suggests your bloodline is awakening. The queen feels a chill slide across her spine. Or it seeks to warn us, she counters. Objects that fall from the sky rarely bring flowers. Still, she cannot ignore the tug inside her chest, a faint magnet pulling her north. Before the sun fully crowns the horizon, Arami rides out with a small escort. Sand stretches ahead like a sleeping animal, rippled and gold. Abeni insists on joining despite Arame's raised eyebrow, and the guards know better than to challenge a princess who once outran every horse in the royal stables. They travel for hours, guided by the thin plume of ash rising in the distance. As they near the crater, the air thickens with a low hum, like a choir held underwater. Arami dismounts first. The impact site is a perfect bowl carved into the dunes. At its center lies a dark, smooth stone, unlike any they've seen. The surface glows faintly, veins of emerald light pulsing in slow waves. The air around it feels charged, as though standing too close might tilt reality a degree to the left. Abeni steps forward, mesmerized. It looks like a heart that forgot to stay in the sky. Arami feels the same sensation she felt before dawn, stronger now, wrapping around her rib cage. The stone is calling to her. As her fingers hover over the thunderstone, a spark leaps upward like a greeting. Arami gasps. Images flood her mind. A cradle woven from mist, a newborn's wail splitting a sunless sky, rain pouring in sheets over a kingdom reborn. Then the vision fractures into something darker. A silhouette, tall, faceless, reaches toward the child, and the clouds above twist into a storm without mercy. Arami steps back sharply, heart rattling. It showed me something, she whispers. Omekun studies her with grave fascination. The thunderstone does not give visions lightly. Abeni touches Arami's arm, grounding her. What did you see? Arami says, a child and a danger that comes with the child. Omekun bows his head. Destiny rarely travels alone. Arami stares at the glowing stone, feeling its silent vow wrap around her like a vow she didn't volunteer for. The covenant was one thing. This thunderstone, this omen, was something else entirely. It was a promise, or a warning, and Iloro's future now paused faintly in the dunes, waiting for a queen who had not yet decided if she was ready to answer its call. The day after the queen touched the thunderstone, strange things begin happening across Iloro. It starts in the royal gardens. The gardeners shout for help when they find the dry soil moving on its own, not shaking, not cracking, but shifting, like something under it is stretching awake. Queen Arami rushes to see for herself. At first glance, the plants still look weak from the long drought. Their leaves are thin and the ground is dusty. But when Arami steps closer, she hears a soft humming. It is gentle, like someone singing far away. Abeni crouches beside a row of wilted beans. "Sister, the plants are making sounds." Arami listens. The humming feels familiar, almost like the echo of the thunderstone. "They are not just making sounds, they are trying to speak," she says. Omekun the seer arrives, robes flying behind him. "Majesty, the fields outside the city are changing too. Farmers say their crops move at night, turning their leaves toward the palace as if waiting for something." Kundo, captain of the guards, frowns. "Crops do not wait. They grow or they die." "Not these ones," Omekun replies. "These ones are dreaming." They ride to the nearest farmland to see with their own eyes. The fields look dry, but something is different. The stalks stand straighter than they should. Their shadows shift even when the wind is still. A farmer named Mako bows to the queen. "Your Majesty," he says, "the crops whisper when the moon rises. They say a child is coming." Arami feels her heart skip. She remembers the vision from the thunderstone, the baby, the rain, the danger. Abeni touches a corn leaf. It curls gently around her finger, as if greeting her. She pulls her hand back in surprise. It's alive in a new way. Omeko kneels and presses his palm to the soil. The land is waking because the prophecy is waking. It knows the heir of the rain line will arrive soon, and it is preparing itself. Arame looks out across the fields. Everywhere she turns, the plants seem to lean toward her, waiting, hoping. "Why now?" she asks softly. "Because the thunderstone has returned, and because you touched it," Omekun says. Arame doesn't know what to say. She feels as if the whole kingdom is watching her, not just the people, but the land itself. Suddenly, a gust of warm wind rushes across the field, carrying a swirl of dust and a strange scent, something like wet earth, even though no rain has fallen. Mako stares at the sky. The ground is remembering rain. Abeni slips her hand into Arame's. "The kingdom believes in you," she says quietly, "even the crops." Arame holds her sister's hand tightly. She wants to believe that everything happening is a sign of hope, but the memory of the dark figure in her vision clings to her thoughts. If the land is waking up for the coming child, then so might the danger. As the sun sets, the humming grows louder, a gentle, steady sound spreading across every field in Iloro. The crops are dreaming again, but what they dream about is still a mystery.
The strange humming from the fields does not stop. Each night it grows a little stronger, like the land is whispering secrets to the sky. People in Iluro whisper too. Some say the queen's child will save them. Others fear the dark shadow in the queen's dreams, even though they do not know it exists. Queen Arame tries to stay calm, but her body feels different every day. The thunderstone's vision stays with her, sparking inside her like a quiet lantern. She begins to feel small kicks under her ribs, soft but steady. The heir of the rain line is coming. One morning, the sky looks unusual. Abeni notices it first when she runs into the queen's chamber. "Sister, look outside. The horizon is turning red." Arame steps onto her balcony. The far edges of the sky glow with a deep red color, gentle at first, then brighter.
It is not the color of fire or sunset. It is something new, like the sky has opened a book it hasn't read in centuries. Omekun rushes into the room soon after. Majesty, this is the sign of arrival. The old stories say the sky turns red when a rain bearer is ready to be born. Before Arame can reply, a sharp pain twists through her stomach. She grabs the railing and breathes through clenched teeth. The baby, says she whispered, it is time. Abeni's eyes widen. We must get you to the birth hall. Guards gather quickly, forming a protective circle around the queen. They lead her through the palace halls, while the red light from outside fills every window like a warm warning. As they move, shouts rise from the city below. People gather in the streets, crying out in excitement and fear. Some cheer for their queen. Others worry the red horizon means danger. Inside the birth hall, everything is ready. Candles flicker. Midwives move quickly and gently. Arame is helped onto the soft bed of woven cloth. She grips Abeni's hand, sweat already forming on her brow. Another wave of pain strikes, stronger than before. The humming from the field suddenly bursts through the walls like a faraway melody. It feels as if the ground itself is singing for her. But something else arrives with the humming. A cold wind creeps along the floor, calling around Arame's ankles. The candles tremble. The smell of dust fills the air. Omekun stiffens. The shadow from your vision, it is near. Arame's heart leaps, but she holds steady. I will not let fear take this moment. Outside, the red horizon brightens until the whole sky glows like a giant ember. People fall silent, staring upward. Inside, the queen pushes through the pain. Abeni whispers encouragement, squeezing her hand. The midwives walk quickly, their movements sure and calm. Then, at the peak of the red glow, the hall fills with a sharp cry. The baby is born. A tiny child with warm brown skin, eyes closed tight, and a faint glow around its body, just a shimmer like the last spark of a firefly. As soon as the newborn's cry rises again, the sky cracks with the sound of distant thunder, deep and rolling. Kundo runs into the hall. Majesty, clouds are gathering. Real clouds, heavy and dark. Arame holds her child close, tears slipping down her cheeks. The baby fits perfectly in her arms, small but full of a quiet strength. Omekun bows deeply. The heir of the rail line has arrived. A soft rumble answers him from the sky. But Arame cannot forget the cold wind or the memory of the shadow reaching toward her child in the vision. The kingdom has received its hope, and somewhere, healing beyond the dunes, or perhaps in the darkness of the prophecy, the danger awakens too. Rain has not touched Iluro in 10 long years, but on the day the queen's baby is born, the sky finally stirs. Queen Arame rests in the birth hall, holding her child close. The baby's tiny fingers curl around hers, warm and gentle. Abeni sits beside them, watching the newborn with soft, amazed eyes. Outside, a soft rumble echoes across the sky. Kundo rushes to the window. Majesty, the clouds are growing darker. Thick clouds gather above the palace, rolling slowly like huge grey animals waking from sleep. People fill the streets, staring up with hope shining on their faces. Then the baby opens its eyes for the first time. They glow for a tiny moment, a small shimmer like moonlight on water. And at that exact second, a drop of rain falls. It lands on the palace roof with a quiet tap. Everyone freezes. A second drop follows, then another. Soon the sound becomes a soft drum beat. The sky begins to open at last. The rain, Abeni whispers. It's real. Outside, shouts of joy rise from the city. Children dance barefoot in the streets. Farmers lift their hands to the sky. Old women cry into their scarves. The land itself seems to sigh in relief. Arame feels tears slip down her face. She gently presses a kiss to her baby's forehead. You have brought our home back to life. Omekun enters the hall, soaked from the rain.
Water drips from his robe, but he smiles wider than the queen has ever seen. The covenant is complete, he says. Your child has broken the drought. The humming from the fields begins again, but this time it sounds happy. The crops sway in the fresh wind, leaves trembling as rain soaks the ground. The soil drinks quickly, like someone waking from a long sleep and taking their first sip of cool water. But even in this moment of joy, Arame notices something. A thin shadow moves along the far corner of the hall. It disappears before she can focus on it, fading like smoke. The memory from her vision returns, the dark figure reaching for her child. Arame tightens her hold. We must protect the baby, she murmurs. Abeni nods firmly. We will, together. Outside, the rain grows stronger, washing the dust from rooftops and turning the dry riverbeds into sparkling streams. Iluro shines again, bright and hopeful. But Arame knows this is only the beginning. Her child has brought the rain, but the danger she saw in her vision still waits somewhere in the world. For now, though, the kingdom celebrates. The queen stands with her baby in her arms, watching the rain fall like a promise renewed. The drought is over, and the adventure of the rain bearer has only just begun.